Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile, let your light come shining through.
Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. I'm Sandra M., coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. I interview people from all parts of the world about what happiness means to them. What are they in love with? In each episode, we'll give you a key to happiness to include in your life. And of course, we'll play a happy tune from my live Celebrate Happiness Roadshow.
A smile doesn't cost you anything. But there's so much good.
Welcome to the third season of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And don't forget to catch up on any episodes from seasons 1 and 2 that you might have missed. Today we're talking with Michael Burt Jr., a dynamic American multi-instrumentalist, teaching artist and composer, living and working in Santa Fe and Albuquerque, New Mexico. Born in Petersburg, Virginia, Michael is from a long line of teachers. Both his mother and grandmother answered the call. For over 20 years, Michael has mentored young people in both public and private schools and currently is teaching in the music departments at Nelson Mandela Charter School and Santa Fe High School. In addition, his 2023 to 2024 Master Arts Workshop series introduced students to the body as keeper and origin of song by way of an immersion into the rich traditions of blues music and original songwriting. You can hear Michael performing regularly in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the historic La Fonda Hotel, Sky Railway Santa Fe, Meow Wolf, Site Santa Fe, among many other venues. Welcome, Michael, to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow. I am so excited to talk to you about happiness. And how does it manifest in your life? Why is it so important?
Well, I believe that happiness is the backbone to being able to function in perhaps in a world that's is just too difficult to navigate. Ultimately, without happiness as some kind of integral part of our living experience, we starve ourselves from something that is vital to us as individuals. That's how I feel.
Wow, I love that comment, backbone to the functioning in a difficult world. And I do think that the world at this point in time, which is December of 2025, it is becoming increasingly difficult. And so when you say backbone, are we talking about the fact that it is just basically so essential? It's like taking vitamins. It's just absolutely essential?
Truly, yeah, truly essential. And it's not guaranteed indefinitely, but when we need to find it, it's always there. We're in the type of environment that I came up in, we learned to find happiness in hard times. And and it wasn't that happiness was the ultimate pursuit, more that the happiness was a Band-Aid that made hard times sweet. And I guess there's many types of happiness, but ultimately, in regard to what I mean the most, is the type of happiness that helps us to endure.
So you are a multi-instrumentalist. I know you do the bass and the cello, and I don't know what other instruments you play, but does music play a huge role in your happiness, your own personal happiness?
It does. A lot of times I feel like because of music and I'm able to voice things inside of myself that perhaps can't be spoken in words. And I also feel like maybe other people have similar things to get out. They just don't know how to get them out. But for me, you know, when I'm playing like a cluster of notes on a piano, it allows me to voice feelings, hopes even. A lot of it is hope, really. And that brings me a great deal of happiness, no doubt.
Wow. So you do a lot of blues. I saw that when you were talking to me about your bio that you are involved with blues music and songwriting.
Yeah, really, ultimately, blues, I do a seminar for a nonprofit called the Identity Project, and I do a blues seminar with them. I play the blues occasionally, but mostly I'm a jazz musician, and I have a Latin band that plays at Hotel Fonda every week with some incredible players. I think I'm really versatile. At the end of the day, also, I'm a teaching instructor for the Santa Fe Symphony, and through that, I'm able to exercise my love of classical music and technique, so which also makes me happy.
Wow, great. So could you tell me a little bit more about the Identity Project? I'm fascinated by that. How does that relate? Music and identity, how does that go together?
It's very, very cool. It's a nonprofit that kind of works adjacent to the 10 of the IAIA, the Indian Affairs, and it works with the students to give them a body of different types of expressions to explore individually. I do the blues. My buddy Leland, who's also, I believe he's on the staff of the Identity Project, he does visual arts. There's poetry and dance. It's a really spectacular nonprofit. I've had the opportunity to go to Capitol High School and Santa Fe High School and, you know, talk about the blues, and not just in a way where I'm wagging my finger, but more in a way to just bring them to a place where if they needed to express themselves, that blues is a possible opportunity to voice their emotions. It's a great vessel for that, for anybody, truly, you know.
Yes. Right. So many people sort of bottle up their emotions. They don't express them. And getting back to the concept of happiness, are there any happy blues songs by any chance?
It's funny you mentioned that. One of the first songs that I learned with my little sister. I had a quartet with my three sisters when I was a little kid. And one of the songs we played was an extension of the very first song we played. It's called Happy Blues. And it was literally called Happy Blues. I guess there's happy blues tunes, but inherently, I think all blues tunes are happy because even though it talks about the hardships of circumstance, in the solo, in the solos, you really hear an optimism, and I think that's why the blues is so special because it contains, even though it seems hopeless, the solos. There's a beauty in an optimism and a confidence that kind of balances it all out. It's a strange type of music to do that, but it's like it holds the reality of hard times and the reality of the potential of better times, all in the same breath, which really is pretty accurate to the human experience in a lot of ways.
Fantastic. So in other words, it's not only holding the reality of the hard times, which, again, as you said, we're going through right now, but the hope for better times. So it's got hope involved in it also?
Right in it. Sorry.
No, please.
Every note that is played, when you hear those notes and those bends, you know, they recommend and aim for a beautiful outlook of a treacherous situation, perhaps. So even in the saddest blues, there's a thread, a silver lining. Like it's almost like that guitar solo or whatever solo might be happening through the song. It represents the silver lining within the hardship.
Wow. So you have a program, I understand, 2324 program, 24. Is it 2324 music arts program? Is that correct?
Yes, that was absorbed by the Santa Fe Symphony. So now I work for the Santa Fe Symphony under that same program. Well, it's the program now. It's a new program. And it's actually, the way it's run, it's pretty brilliant with the director, Elizabeth Young. And they've done a really excellent job at assessing the needs of the classical music students in the Santa Fe area. And they've done a really brilliant job of dispatching some of Santa Fe's finest musicians and educators to places. And the aim is simple, just to cultivate talent and give them an opportunity to be just as wonderful as everybody else. And they're doing it. They're doing it right now while we speak.
So you had mentioned that the body is a keeper and in the origin of song. And I want, again, you mentioned that in your bio, and I'm wondering what that really means, the body as a keeper and the origin of song.
Ultimately, we are, at best, to me, in my perspective that I've come to know, we are vessels, and when we put our hands and put our fingers on those instruments, and we make informed decisions to make notes, to make sounds, it truly emanates from us. We are accountable for that sound because we're creating it. And I think that that has a lot of potential. As for me, that's why I lean toward not only being an educator, but always staying educated, because there's a lot of different human experiences in music that if you just learn the music, you learn a lot about the human experience itself. And there's a lot of places where those realities come together. Like, for example, you could take an oompa, like a German oompa, and at heart, it's very similar to what Mexican music does in their music today.
Yes. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can. So when you say oompa, that's like a rhythm?
That has a cultural meaning in Eastern Europe. It also has a cultural meaning in Mexico. It's what they sing ballads over. And very similar to, it's just funny how those things cross. And when you come to understand, like, as I understand Spanish music and playing in six, I also see a thread of Afro-Cuban music and how they play in six. Just being able to play with different ensembles and to learn the nuances of what makes cultural music it's a nice way to be an anthropologist in a way.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed with your background and your knowledge. You told me, or again in your bio, it said that your mother and your grandmother were both teachers and very influential in your life. Is that correct?
Yeah, they were extremely influential. It definitely informed my lifestyle, even though maybe for a little bit I wanted to be a soldier or a military man like my dad. Ultimately, I had been teaching alongside my mom since I was a teenager. Even though I wasn't a great student by any stretch, she still found a way to have me helping with her in the summertime during summer school. So I just always had an empathy for trying to help people learn. And I personally think it's very important. Another thing about happiness is giving. I feel I just can't imagine, and thank goodness to my mom and grandma for this, instilling this inside of me. I can't imagine being a person that just lived for my own interest. I don't think it would settle well in my soul, or I can't imagine who I might be if I wasn't living to try to shine a light and to tell other people to shine their light somehow in some way.
Did you say shine your light? I love that. Shine your light, right.
Yeah.
And, giving other people to empower them to shine their light through music seems to be like so basic. It's just so basic to the human condition. It just connects into your. So when you say it wouldn't be in alignment with my soul, what do you mean when you say that?
We live in an age where people are very self-motivated, and I to this day I think I want to tell half of my comedian friends, and I know a bunch, like you'd be just as good as a teacher. Like the kids would love you. You want a good audience? Come and teach. I guess what I mean is ultimately is it just feels better for me. It feels more fulfilling for me. I love performing, but I think that there's a part of me that would feel like I was cheating the world if I just kept it all to myself.
I understand. And so that was my next question, because I know that you perform in many, many different venues in Albuquerque and Santa Fe, and I think you've done, haven't you done some national tours? Didn't I hear that?
Yes, I have a background in Broadway. I was fortunate in my young 20s by way of Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, an all-star big band I was fortunate to play in. I was able to get an audition and to stumble into the Broadway circuit. It's a real blessing. It took me through I've been through the entire United States over twice,
Wow.
less Alaska and Hawaii. So I did it very young. Life has taught me some weird experiences, I have a background in performance.
Anything you want to share? Some weird experiences?
Yeah, sure. Being on the road I was always interested in how people were living. I wasn't really as interested in the shows. I'm fortunate that I really had the ability to be able to do both. I probably should have been more focused on the music, but I was very interested in the people and just seeing how everyone lived. That's how I spent most of my traveling life. I started music very young, and it's a life that I recommend and I don't recommend, in that I would hate for people to have to do it so alone like I did. Maybe it's not worth it to live a hard life just to succeed. I know that's a popular business model, but maybe deep down inside it might be happier. Speaking of happiness, it may be happier for an individual just to have a nice job and some money, and that pursuit of music it's a noble pursuit, but you got to be really honest with yourself. What are you willing to endure for the sake of understanding of yourself and continued growth, or as I'm getting older, maybe when do you tap out from that pursuit for more practical things? Yeah.
So very, very interesting. So when you say, I want to go back to performing, it really doesn't matter where you're performing, if you're on the road or if you're in the local venues, but you've been in a wide variety of venues. I mean, Meow Wolf, which is here in Santa Fe, I would imagine is very different than La Fonda and also Sight Santa Fe. And do the audiences make any difference to you in terms of how? No, go ahead.
No, in terms of?
Well, in terms of how you feel, again, does it give you more joy to play for different types of audiences? Or is it all the same and you just love playing?
Oh, I enjoy all kinds of settings. Meow Wolf has some of the best sound staff and one of the coolest stages that I've really played at, period. It's a great venue, a great place for playing. I like that audience. It gives me like more of a club-like feel, club-like atmosphere. So it's a nice place to play. Hotel La Fonda, I like playing there because it's transient. I never have to ask for an audience. People are always going to be there whether I want them to or not. And generally a pretty music-loving, eclectic audience. I love performing for people because I prepared myself. You know, I use the word vessel again. I prepared my life to be a vessel to be able to execute with a certain amount of sincerity and skill. And it's a joy for me to impart that to people. I think it encourages people. I think it motivates people. And sometimes if people are having a hard day, it can liberate people. I'm just happy to do my profession. I feel like it's a sacred industry. It's not necessarily, you know, to me.
Yes. So now when we talk about sacred industry, we can get into the whole other level, because when you talk about sacred, that means it has some connection to what? A larger sensibility?
Sure. I mean, I think it's what a question. I guess it has to do with, it wasn't uncommon for people in older times to consider music a religious pursuit, or not a religious pursuit, but a spiritual pursuit. Handel wrote the Messiah, and there's lots of music that was written in the interest of divine understanding or for for the glorification. For me personally, I feel like it's my imperfection striving to be perfect. And
striving to be perfect as a human being or as a musician, or
as a musical vessel. For whatever that might be, whatever show that might be or gig that might be. I just want to be there for whatever the artist needs or the music needs. And I want to, it's because I started so young and because of the type of people I was raised by, it's a pursuit that I take very seriously. And so I'm always trying to perfect my imperfect soul, you know. It's almost like in line with just trying to be a good person every day.
Wow. So if you weren't a musician, for instance, if you weren't playing music, what would you, and you were still pursuing perfecting your soul, how would you go about that? Would you be doing that in another way?
I reckon so, yeah. Maybe through visual art. I'm not a great visual artist, but I just know how determined I was. There was a time in my life for about 10 to 12 years where I didn't play any music at all. So, and actually I just had a friend from out of town from those days. He was watching me play here. He had only heard me talking about things I did. He had never seen me play. So he saw me play all over town. But in those times where I was starved for music, I did all kinds of crazy stuff creatively, especially with landscaping, to try to satisfy that itch. I also am a big fan of the law. Like, I don't love the law, but I understand it, and I think it's an interesting way to I guess maybe that's unrelated, but I'd probably also, if I didn't have music, I'd probably be pursuing some kind of advocacy.
Right. So I think the law relates to happiness, because if we didn't have laws, we'd have anarchy. I mean, people.
Yeah.
Right. So it creates a kind of structure. The legal system creates, when it's not abused, right, it creates a kind of structure for people to stay happy and to be connected to each other, to have, and this is a larger conversation, but I believe in this world today, people are not very respectful of each other, and we have to learn to be more compassionate and empathetic and caring. And to me, those three things that I just mentioned, compassion, caring, and empathy, are qualities of being a happier person and creating a happier world for people to live in. Yeah. Your thoughts on that?
You couldn't be more true. And I think maybe perhaps sometimes modern music reflects that reality. And maybe that's why people are so drawn to music from a certain period of time, like the 60s, the 70s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Maybe that's why we're so obsessed with those times, because that was when the height of that kind of connectivity was most obvious.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of music is just reaching for those moments, and it's just missing the mark because people aren't as empathetic in certain ways. People are so self-motivated that nobody's really listening.
Could you talk me a little more about that?
Oh, it's just something that I'm perceiving. You know, I pay attention to a lot of education statistics, and I recognize there's things happening. I have opinions about it, but most immediately, I just think people just don't listen to each other because everyone has so much to gain in themselves, and we're constantly tripping over ourselves in our own interests nowadays. Not exclusively, not everyone. I know beautiful people. I was just in the studio last night with a world-class cellist, Michael Cott, making some music with Mark and Paula Ray. So there is commonality in many spaces, but I think overarchingly, in a civilian sense, like we have lost that fellow feeling, unfortunately.
Yes. And when you say modern,
even the fact that I said, I'm sorry to interrupt, even the fact that I said that, could be cause for contentiousness, I mean nothing by it, but just observation.
Right. But when you say modern music, as opposed to the music 50s, 60s, and 70s, I don't want to put words in your mouth. What is the difference between modern music, as you see it? I don't even know what you're really referring to. Are you referring to popular music? Are you referring to...
Yeah, mostly the music that engages the most people. I mean, in order to be in an ensemble, in a band, in order to make the best music possible, there's a certain kind of reductionist purity that has to occur. You want to scale it down to the simplest but most elegant parts to execute the song. If you were to take apart people's favorite songs, the parts of those songs are very simple. But in order to achieve it, everyone has to be on the same page to do that simple thing repetitiously. And that's what I'm saying is missing. That's why doo-wop music is still so effective, because everybody recognized that there was a mutual element to it, a mutuality that the music couldn't be produced unless everybody was on the same page.
Right.
There was no resistance.
No, or disruption. This is a big word now. A lot of young people are talking about they want to disrupt the society. They want to disrupt the government. They want to change things. They think it's not working. So disruption, I guess, does have has its place. But now we're talking about everyone being on the same page so that we work as a unit, so that we are supporting each other. And it seems to me that that's really important for, as you say, the larger society, right? We can take that concept of playing doo-wop music, right? Doo-wop, doo-wop, doo-wop. Isn't that what we're talking about here?
Right. If you think about what it represents, it means, 4 or 5 guys singing different parts, sometimes at the same time. They have to look at each other. They have to coordinate. And, for the really good guys, they're really, truly doing it for the sake of the moment, because they understand that the moment is the most important thing. And really, truly, if they can make the moment the most important thing, they got a great chance of making a lot of money on that gig. Right. The truth of the matter.
So here you go. So this is the idea. The moment, make the moment the most important thing. And when you really think about it, each individual in this world we live moment to moment to moment. And yet most people are always thinking about, oh, I have to get this done, by the 25th of December or whatever, and they're not thinking about living in the moment. And for me, living in the moment as much as I can possibly do makes me stay happy. It keeps me out of stress. It keeps me solid. I don't feel stress if I'm living in the moment. And so I have taken to a lot of meditation in order stay in the moment, right? In other words,
right. Well, they call it flow state, right? Have you heard that term? I'm sure you have. You talked to somebody who said that.
Yes, flow state, exactly. And that's so. Isn't that also true in music? You have to be with the flow. Everything has to be in the. Yeah. This has been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for the opportunity to be on, to be able to talk to you a little bit about myself and a couple of things I believe. Thank you so much.
Is there anything else you want to leave us with? We have a couple of minutes left.
Oh, okay. Well, come to Hotel de Fonda every Wednesday. The band the Sotros and I got together and made kind of a salsa and Latin group. There's a salsa dancer over there. Please support Santa Fe Youth Orchestra. Please support all their doings in the Santa Fe Orchestra. Thank you so much for hiring me. I appreciate you, Elizabeth Young. Shout out to Los Alamos, Ryan Finn, and the gang out there. You guys mean the world to me. Thank you for helping a nobody to be somebody. That's about it. Thank you, Sandy, again.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Take care.
Keys to happiness number 6, give lots of compliments. Practice acts of kindness. Giving a sincere and respectful compliment is a quick way to brighten someone's day and to boost your own happiness. Catch the person's eye and say it with a smile so that they know you mean it. You might be surprised by how good it makes you feel.
Newsflash, please sign up for your copy of our Keys to Happiness at sandramcknight.com. Thank you for tuning in to Season 3 of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. And if you enjoyed the conversation, please help spread the word by sharing with your friends and family. Before we go, I'd like to thank today's guest, Michael Burt, for sharing his happiness story. And to share your happiness story on the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast, send an email to sandra@sandramcknight.com.
Turn your smile on, you can't go wrong.